need to think ahead to have a chance to be the best, and that is facts. It's a war between the alpha and omega. More intense than Street Fighter on the Sega. Your team is weak, it's time to make a couple trades. Get a player off the waiver just to plug them in and play. Do whatever that it takes so you can win it. Make it to the ship so you can say that you were in it. If you don't win it, then it means you're number two, and number two ain't number one, so number two ain't good enough. Just means you couldn't get it done. You had a run but couldn't finish. So when next year comes, I hope you're doing something different. Plan to make it to the top, you need to build right. Make a trade to win the game as if it feels right. 25 is here, the new year starts, draft night. Hope that you're ready for the fight like Friday night lights. Keep the enemy in sight, try to beat them like you might. Yeah, fantasy's back and PPL is where it's at. PPL is where it's at. The wait is finally over, PPL is finally back. Everybody ready, trying to be the next champ. Yeah, you know the show is starting when you hear the new rap. Welcome back to the twins, to the gaff and the gods, to the boss. Trade 50 in the squad, to the plays, baby gas, Argonauts and the skulls. We've been waiting too long, man, it's finally time to ball. Yeah, it's time to get it on.
Wildcard weekend is here. PPL Live is here. Gino the Gent is here. Ulysses S. Hate is here. Give him a what's up, Ulysses.
What's up, PPL?
We here. We ready to jump into the playoffs. But before we get into Wildcard weekend, we got to take one eye back to the regular season with our Week 14 scores. Starting with the Argonauts getting a big win to enter into the playoffs, scoring a big 161 to the Gavs 87. Squad underestimated makes it 6 straight. Big win over the United Players 141 to 24. Patty's Twins, crucial prestige matchup of the week win when they needed it. Playoff started a week early. Playoff win already. 115, eliminating Trey Fitty to 105. Appease the gods. Get it done as the number 1 seed. 103 to Cavs TNT 74. And the Skulls, season high, save the best for the end. Leave no doubt. 206 to 95. Ulysses, 206, man. What did you think of that?
I mean, we haven't had a 200-plus game in quite some time.
Yeah. Wow, man. Big time effort. It was a great season, and the Skulls capped it off with fireworks of a special kind. But you know it's the playoffs. But before we get into the playoffs, we're going to do our good, our bad, and our ugly. All right, good, bad, and ugly, but it's going to be a season recap of good, bad, and ugly. 14 weeks of action. We called our shots in some cases. In some cases, we was wrong. But I want to hear you, Ulysses. Give me your good, bad, and ugly for the 2024 regular season.
Yeah, my good this season, I'm going to have to give it to squad underestimated.
Okay.
You know, this team, I definitely don't think I picked them to win alpha at the start of the conference or at the start of the season. But whenever I look at their season in retrospect, you know, outside of a blip of games in the middle where they lost to the Gav, the Skulls, and ATG, all playoff teams, where, I mean, the lowest score there was 128, a 139, and a 146. They had the score to compete in those games. Outside of that, they were highly competitive.
Definitely.
Won 6 in a row down the stretch. And what's been really impressive with this run is essentially happened without the best projected player in fantasy.
Right.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey wasn't really the factor at all. I mean, I think that squad's going to have to make some choices around that player going into next season. But also Sam Laporta. I mean, this was a guy who was critical to this team last year.
Yeah.
And you look at this lineup, and Saquon's playing out of his mind. Alvin Kamara's top 5. Puka Nacua, especially as of late, is probably top 5 to top 10.
Yeah.
And Brock Bowers is probably the best tight end in football. Squad has continued to make the most moves. He's even doing it this week.
Yeah.
And it's really factored for him. I think he had a great season. He's got himself a bye. And I think looking at the teams vying, he's in a very good position.
No, definitely, man. Squad had a great season. Basically picked up the pieces where they needed to. Saquon Barkley definitely going to the Eagles, supplanted and replaced Christian McCaffrey's production that he lost. Now, it was a great season for squad. Sometimes you got to be a little lucky along with good, and squad has been both this season. Fortune has favored them. Who's your bat?
I'm going to have somewhat of a controversial dad.
Okay.
As we look at the teams and kind of where they shook out in this regular season,
Right.
I'm going to go with Patty's Twins. Ended up making it into the playoffs, but I think they're in a precarious spot.
Okay.
I say this because the season started out, these guys were 4-3 in really good shape, go on to lose 5 in a row.
Right.
Then they win 2 games against the United Players and Trey Fitty. Neither are playoff teams.
Right.
And so they won beating bad teams, which you're supposed to do, but the scoring for me is where the question is again, these guys are in at the 6th seed. They are scoring at the 8th, right?
Right.
These guys are not putting up a lot of points. And I think that really, really is going to factor. Now, again, I think it's great that they got into the playoffs, but I know this owner. This owner's playing to win.
Yeah.
And I think that given where they are, I think they have the longest odds of taking a title. They've got certainly the hardest road.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to wish that they had played some things in the regular season a little bit differently. I think that the Twins are at that point where they need to make some decisions around some guys.
Okay.
And again, I just think that this wasn't the season that it necessarily what they wanted to see out of it. And I think that they certainly, did good getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they also, I think, underperformed as far as what me and you, Gino, thought that they would do.
No, definitely, man. Definitely. I got to agree with you here. It's that age-old adjective, man. Making the playoffs and staying in them are two different things altogether. And Patty Twins is going to have to see if they can survive, man. Who's your ugly?
Man, my ugly it's again, heartbreaker, but I got to go with Trey Fitty, man. The combination of this team's keeper set really coming in with a strategy the last 3 seasons, going young, giving away a lot of talent to do that strategy. This was year 3 to implement it. I think they had a solid draft when the draft was occurring.
Yeah.
And when I look at how they performed this season, it just completely underwhelmed. Trey Fitty's, got 5 wins. Those wins come against Kev's TNT ×2.
Yeah.
UP.
Yeah.
Only for the Boss and ATG.
Right.
Only 1 win all season against a playoff team is not going to get it done.
Right.
And I think that when I see how his gameplay occurred, 3 of his 5 wins came in the last 5 weeks. I just think that this season really got away from him. And again, it got ugly. Unfortunately, I think that Trey Fitty is now in a tough position where he's going to have to make some choices with some of these young guys. He's going to be in the middle of the draft. He likes to do a lot of wheeling and dealing, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this owner see if he can make something happen.
Right.
But it was a pretty ugly season, and so it'll be interesting to see, does Trey Fitty stay pat with this strategy, or does he go into complete rebuild mode?
No, definitely, man. When we look at Trey Fitty's strategy, he made the big trades with Squad Underestimated that have pretty much put Squad Underestimated in the situation they're in. You have to wonder if they, don't do those moves. Are they sitting at the number 1 or 2 seed right now with a guy like Jaden Daniels leading the charge with a Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley on Squad? I mean, it's definitely worth wondering. An ugly season punctuated by probably a flawed strategy, man. My good for the season is the team that I called as my good going into the regular season, and that's Appease the Gods. I told you that Lamar Jackson was going to do this, and he came out and did it. Big time play for Lamar all season long, leading ATG in scoring, being the breadwinner there. I love the Bijan Robinson coming back for his second year with a coach and an offense that want to use him the way he needs to be used. And let's talk about it. I love the David Montgomery He picked him, dropped him, and picked him back up. I thought that was a home run play. One of the best goal line backs in the game and in one of the best offenses in pro football. You can't ask for anything more from ATG. Supplemented the scoring, getting to Terry McLaren. They've gotten it from everywhere and able to shed pieces that they didn't need anymore. What's going to be interesting for them is if they can keep it up going into the PPL playoffs. But, I mean, as far as having a good season goes, 11-3 Omega Conference champions. I think that's about their 4th or 5th in their team's history. So this is a proud team that has done it before, doing it again, and have set themselves up to possibly win that first elusive Pantheon Cup. So ATG putting themselves in the best possible position they could, sitting on the Imperial throne with an 11-3 record and an Omega Conference title, building on that chaos that you need to be a great in the PPL. My bad, man, is a team that was in their first year, rookies at this thing, but they left so much meat on that bone, and that's Cavs TNT. I mean, it was just so many puzzling, even down to this last week against ATG. They had a lot of high-scoring guys on the bench. I don't know if they knew that they could sub guys out on bye weeks. It just seemed like real rookie shit throughout this first part of the journey for Cavs TNT. But the bad thing, or the silver lining is that it's only bad because of how much potential they displayed. A lot of good players and show some really good decision making when they did have to make decisions. Gonna have to go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to be more consistent and do a little bit better math, because if they would have did some better math, they probably would be sitting in the PPL playoffs right now. So they're my bad for the season, just because they fumbled so many opportunities and they got chance after chance after chance, and they just could not capitalize on it. So that's my bad. And man, my ugly for the season is a once proud franchise who at one point went to 3 straight Pantheon Cups, and that's only for the boss. I mean, this was a team that was feared for their scoring prowess, but they got real sloppy down the stretch, couldn't figure out ways to score, got really lethargic and slow at decision making, and also just showed an archaic viewpoint as far as relying on something that may be a thing of the past. The boss has got to go back to the drawing board. If he's going to Big Chief, he's got to figure out where the best revenue of points is going to come from on that team, because the guys that he's relying on may not be that source anymore. And they tried that trade at the end of the year, but in one of their most crucial matchups, they didn't get guys in on time on Thanksgiving, and it just punctuated a very, very ugly season for the boss, who had chance after chance once again to make the playoffs as well. They had pretty much till the last week against Trey Fitty to win an Alpha Conference game to pretty much clinch a spot, couldn't get it done. And now they're back at the drawing board, looking in the top, picking in the top 2 in the 2025 PPL draft. But man, with that being said, I mean, this 2024 season's over. It's time to look forward to the playoffs. It's time to get into these huge, colossal wild card weekend matchups. And we start in a big one. 2 proud Omega Conference teams go to war in this one. A big one for the Twins on the quest to get their 4th Pantheon Cup title. The Skulls still searching for their first big one here. Patty's Twins taking on the Skulls. All right, man, huge one here. Wild card weekend. These two teams have played twice, split in the regular season. The Twins ran away with their first matchup early on. The Skulls got them on the back half of the schedule. What do you think of this one, man? Patty's Twins bringing in Brock Purdy, going up against the high-scoring menace of Josh Allen and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I mean, one of my dogs, in places the Twins is bad was their scoring. One bright spot was that week 4 matchup against the Skulls when they hit 155. That was their high water mark of the season. But again, that's when they were playing better at the beginning of the season. When they played in week 12, complete reversal, could not get anything going. Yeah. I'm similarly concerned this week. Brock Purdy and company playing the Rams, I think that should be a high-scoring affair. I think that, Brock and company are going to need to air it out. But what I'm loving right now is Jerry Jeudy getting in the lineup.
Okay.
I think with Jameis in against Kansas City, they've shown that they're susceptible, and he's willing to air out the ball. The Jonnu Smith pick has been a real bright spot for
Saved
the
their
Twins.
season.
But you've got question marks. I mean, Malik Neighbors, I think that he could really exploit that Baltimore defense and secondary. My concern is his health at this point.
Right.
And if I'm not the Giants organization, am I really trying to get our top guy into an injury situation when there's really nothing for the Giants to play for at this point? That might factor into this matchup here. And then the Lions probably have their toughest matchup that they've certainly had in the last few weeks against Buffalo. Also, I think that Caleb Williams deserves some consideration here. Again, the last time these guys played, it was Caleb Williams on the bench against this same Minnesota team.
Yeah.
And he was connecting with Keenan Allen. So there might be an opportunity to potentially look at the Caleb and Keenan option if there's some doubt about Malik going.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I mean, God, we talked about it, this 200-plus point performance. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's impressive.
Right.
When you really dig into it, you realize that one of his guys was out on injury, so he got 200-plus with 9 people.
Right.
Absolutely ridiculous, terrifying to have to go against, and I don't see why it wouldn't be the case this week. Josh Allen, and what I'm surprised here is that Shakir is not in the lineup.
Yeah, no, Shakir was a beast.
I'm really surprised with that move. I would definitely be going there instead of Tyrone Tracy, but I understand Tracy's been doing well. Baltimore's run D has been highly susceptible. Yeah. But that connection, and when you're getting guys with 50-point bonuses, that would be really hard for me not to start. The spots that have been liabilities for the Skulls have been the running backs. Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson have been okay. They just haven't been lights out. Right. Meetings against Chicago and Arizona, I think, are appealing. I just think that there's nothing here. Vikings coach against Chicago D, Bengals D at Tennessee. I think that this game is really queued up for the Skulls. I mean, I think that the Twins have had a valiant run, but the Skulls, are you said your good for the season was ATG. I think my honorable mention would have been the Skulls. I mean, yeah, definitely. They made ATG go down to the wire, and if they wouldn't have won that matchup, if Cavs TNT, to your point, would have done what they needed to do, the Skulls were in position to take that. Yeah. And so just highly impressive. And I don't see the Twins getting it. I think they were fortunate to get in the playoffs, and I think that the Skulls really take care of business here. I'm going to say that they go 141 to Patty's Twins 120.
All right, man. I'm gonna have to agree with you, because I think that Josh Allen slays the beast that is the Detroit Lions, and that puts the Twins in a precarious situation because of their coach. And I'm also looking at Jamar Chase. I think that him and Joe Burrow are basically playing for records at this point. They probably know they're not going to make the playoffs, but they know that they can ruin team seasons, and they know that they can put up high yardage plays like they did on Monday night against Dallas. I like the Cincinnati defense against Will Levis. Will Levis is trash. And I like the Tracy play, but I'm with you. That Baltimore run defense, while it's not the best, they know that it's going to be Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock back there. So they know that they're going to have to strap up tough against the run. It's going to be a tough day, I think, for Tracy to get loose. But at the end of the day, I do like some of the things going for the Twins. I like Jeudy. I like Jonnu Smith. I think that Malik Neighbors probably could take a break. And I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown's due for a big game. Brock Purdy's going to have to play his best for the 49ers to make the playoffs. And I think that's going to have to continue from the start he got in Chicago. But at the end of the day, I think that the Skulls may have a little bit too much. not so sold on Zay Flowers coming out of the I don't know. The Baltimore seemed to figure things out, opening it up, and Zay Flowers has kind of fallen to the wayside. Now, that could blow up in my face, but I think that that's something that they could be concerned with. And Malik Neighbors on the Twins side, I'm voicing the same concerns that you voiced earlier. At the end of the day, I think that the Skulls are going to have just enough. I think this match is going to be pretty close, much closer than we might expect. I got the Skulls getting by, though, 131 to Patty's Twins 127. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a rematch of Pantheon Cup 2 and Pantheon Cup 15. These two teams meeting again after last year's final. They played twice this year, a rarity for two teams in separate conferences. Alpha's Argonauts against Omega's Gas Attack. All right, man, big one here. This is a rematch of last year's final. These two teams will meet in the first round of the playoffs this year. What do you think of this one? The Argonauts and the Gaff split. The Gaff got a close win on opening night, but the Argonauts came back with a big-time win to close the season. What do you think of this one, Argo Gaff?
Yeah, I mean, this has everything you want, especially with how the Argonauts really pushed them around last week. I mean, I don't think the Gap was really taking it seriously, but I don't think the Argonauts were really either. I just think he set his lineup, and these guys have shown throughout the season that they are the high-scoring team. They ended up covering everybody else by 15 points. Winners of 7 of their last 8. The Argonauts have been probably one of the hottest teams down the stretch, along with ATG squad. Now, when I look at their matchups this week, they're going with the hot hand with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Again, had his best game of the season, and Jacksonville's been the cure for everybody. I love the set with Chase Brown and Kyron Williams. I think that both of those against those defenses that have not been looking tremendous is an opportunity. Justin Jefferson has no reason not to shine out on Chicago, and Juwan Jennings has shown that he's a guy out in San Fran.
Right. Now
he's double stacking that with Kittle, and again, if he wanted to, I think he could go Trey McBride in place of Kittle and be just fine here. But I think he's got a good option anyway. And then again, going Achane against Houston, he has a few other options on his bench here, notably Cooper Kupp that I think could come in. But I think the Ravens D at New York Giants should be good. It's covering the coach on the other side. Aubrey's one of the best kickers in the game, and Commander's coach should win at New Orleans. That should be an easy one. Well, not maybe an easy one, but I think that they should handle business.
Right. Now,
whenever I look at the Gaff, I mean, again, it's all Eagles, and I think that's going to be problematic for him this week. Playing against Pittsburgh, he's got Jalen and AJ in that matchup. I think that's going to be a little bit more challenging. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs, you were saying it, may be meeting their match in Buffalo. And again, if this gets into more of a passing situation, how does that impact Jahmyr Gibbs' split? Right. And again, Chuba Hubbard has shown that he's the guy. Now, CeeDee Lamb's getting the ball forced to him, even though Dallas is not a very good football team. Right. But the injury concerns, these guys are banged up. Are they going to be able to go the entire time? Looking at his defense, I'm not as high as with the Packers D against Seattle, just because of the playmaking ability with Geno and company. Yeah. But Ravens should be good. I think that this should give us everything we want. It's going to be a highly competitive one, but I think that the Argonauts just edge the Gaff Attack. They win this one in a squeaker. I'm going to say 137 to the Gaff's 134.
All right, man. This is a tough one to pick, but I'm tempted to go the other way. I think the Argonauts might have had their explosion a week early. I'm looking at the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown combination right now, and because all of the noise is negative, sometimes it gets you into a false sense of what's going to happen. Now, Pittsburgh is a tough matchup, but I think this is one that the Eagles are going to do their best to try to smooth things over with these two guys, and they're going to try to have them have a decent outings. Like you said, CeeDee Lamb is going to get that ball forced to him. It doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter where they are on the field. He's going to be the first read. And if Cooper Rush can stay upright and he can make a good throw, the ball's probably going to get big points going, because he had a great game against Cincinnati. I am a little worried about Kenneth Walker, though, there, man. It seems like not only is he injured, but Charbonnet is playing so well that if he is a little bit nicked, I don't see why the Seahawks wouldn't just say, hey, man, take a break. Let Charbonnet run this week, and you we'll see you next week. On the Argonaut side, I think that Aaron Rodgers is an all right play, but I think if Justin Herbert is healthy and McConkey plays, that Tampa Bay pass defense is as bad as the Jacksonville defense. Kyron Williams against that 49ers defense, I think that they're cleaning things up slowly but surely. Justin Jefferson, maybe that explosion was a week early. I do like Chase Brown, though. He's showing out like on an unridiculous level, and the Baltimore defense should be a safe play. At the end of the day, though, I think it's going to get real high scoring, and it might turn into a situation where someone explodes. I got the Gaff attack getting this one in a big one, 148 to the Argonauts, 141. And here we are. We have an exclusive here on PPL Live Wildcard Edition. I have a very special guest, the Alpha Conference champion squad under estimated ownership, Charlie White. What's up, squad?
What's going on, PPL?
What's up, man? Hey, congratulations on that Alpha Conference championship. Your first Alpha Conference title in team history. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Nah, man, talk to us about it. You back in the hunt. Last year, you kind of fell short. The year before, you got the championship. Now you've won that Alpha Conference title, sitting with that first round bye. Take us through your recap of the season from your perspective.
Well, it was a good season at the end. I got a little bit worried, you know what I mean, for a little bit because of all the injuries I had. But
right.
With that being said, I gotta say, I feel like the squad needs more credit for what they went through to get to where they're at. Like, I mean, they have a squad, but everyone was just injured, bro, and it was like making the most moves I think I've ever had to make, you know, in 13 years. So the waiver wire was real big for me. And I also think I was impressed with some of my pickups in the draft. Bowers has come through, still having.
No, most definitely, man.
Yeah. So, you know, those are big to me. So I think that I'm proud of what I had to do and how it worked out.
No, definitely, man. Talk to us about the Christian McCaffrey situation. I mean, going into opening night, you think that, you know, that's the last chamber in the barrel, so to speak, for your opening day matchup. And then you get down to the end and you find out, nah, man, he's out. And then, you know, basically Jordan Mason, there's no way for you to pick him up. It kind of puts you in scramble mode early on. Talk to us about that early season struggle and him eventually going out for the season anyway, and you replacing that production.
I can say, luckily for me, that he was out for a long time. So when he came back, it was more of a hope and not expecting.
Right. You were already rolling.
Yeah, I was already, you know, I'm already used to it. And then him going out again, which was what I feared. Again, I feel it didn't hurt me. I feel like my flex I've been pretty good with having that flex. I had Hunt for the right amount of time. It was a perfect amount of time to try to fill the void.
Yeah.
Then, you know, of course, Pacheco comes back. So then I get Pollard, who I barely play, but he comes through when I have to play him. So I think, and now getting Puka back and Tyreek Hill looking like.
Puka's been huge for you, man.
What's that?
I said Puka's been huge for you.
Puka is beautiful, man.
Yeah. He's having a great season. I mean, he's been a big time scorer for you. He's definitely helped replace that production that you lost as well. But another thing that that I wanted to ask you about was the actual playoff field. You actually did have that little struggle in the middle of the season during interconference warfare, dropping one to the Gaff, dropping one to the Skulls, and dropping one to ATG. These are obviously the other top four playoff teams. What do you think you got to do in order to get those wins back in a playoff scenario?
Well, first, I'm excited for it because it ain't fantasy unless you're going up against those people who broke your heart. That's how, especially for the championship. But with that being said, I think that if you look at the players that I picked up and the games that they have coming up, are players that ain't been on the squad, and then players will make an appearance in the playoffs. And I think that I was really smart about preparing for these playoffs, not just by going to what I had, but looking more into the matchups coming up, the production I can get from players that were unexpected to do things. So throw a little curveball in it. Hopefully it doesn't bite me in the ass.
All right, no, but squad, come on, man. Who are you? Who do you want to see, man? Like, let's go, man. You being nice and.
I want to see the gods, bro.
Oh, okay.
Championship, bro.
So that's your Pantheon Cup pick right there.
That's my pick, and if I want to think technically, I want the Twins next. I think I have a better chance to go at it with the Twins. To get that dub. So
you want your road is Twins. You take them out. ATG. You want to take out the Omega Conference. Why ATG, man? Why you chomping at the bit to get at those guys?
Well, ATG's had a little a grudge against me. I feel like this year. I love him. He says the right things, you know what I mean? But I just feel like it was kind of sometimes when I wanted that praise, he was the one to put it down, and I was just kind of shocked sometimes.
Oh, I see. So you want to prove a point in the Pantheon Cup?
Yeah, I just want to prove it. Much love to him. I want to beat him, so I can hear the very last PPL and see what he got to say there.
Oh, wow, definitely, man. It's looking great for the Pantheon Cup. Appease the gods, the number 1 seed. Squad underestimated, the number 2 seed. Alpha Omega Conference champions. Of course, that's the matchup on paper everyone should want to see. Good luck, man. You obviously get to sit pretty. Enjoy those Niners tonight. Good luck in your road to the Pantheon Cup, squad.
For sure, I appreciate it, and good luck to everyone that's in there. And Argos, don't get it twisted. I'd love to play you again.
All right, man. You have a good one.
All right, you too.